The night was as black as obsidian, swallowing any trace of the road ahead. I gripped the steering wheel tightly, my knuckles turning white as the only source of light came from the dim glow of the dashboard. The desolate highway stretched endlessly before me, flanked by an impenetrable wall of trees. My car's headlights cut feeble beams into the darkness, revealing nothing more than the oppressive shadows that seemed to reach out like skeletal fingers. I checked the time on the dashboard clock, 2:37 a.m. The rational part of my mind screamed at me, questioning why I had chosen to drive through this desolate stretch of road at such an ungodly hour. But I had urgent business, a meeting that demanded my presence the next morning. The clock was ticking, and so was my anxiety. As I drove on, the silence inside the car grew thicker, suffocating. The hum of the engine was the only sound, and it seemed to amplify the emptiness of the night. I tried to shake off the unease, reminding myself that it was just a lonely road. Yet my nerves were on edge, like a discordant melody playing in the background of my thoughts. The monotony of the drive was shattered by a sudden flicker of movement at the edge of my vision. I slammed on the brakes, heart pounding in my chest. I strained my eyes to peer into the void outside the car. Nothing, just the trees and the impenetrable darkness. Shaking my head, I chalked it up to fatigue and pressed on the gas pedal. The road stretched ahead, featureless and unending. Minutes turned to hours, and a creeping fatigue settled over me. The hypnotic hum of the tires on the asphalt became a lullaby, coaxing me into a drowsy state. I cursed under my breath, glancing at the fuel gauge. Empty. How could that be? I had filled up before hitting the road. A shiver crawled down my spine as I realized that I was stranded in the heart of nowhere, surrounded by an ocean of trees that seemed to close in on me. The wind outside whispered haunting secrets, and the rustling leaves carried an unsettling melody. I fumbled for my phone, only to find it dead. No signal, no lifeline. The desolation pressed against the windows like a spectral force. Dread settled over me like a heavy fog. I stepped out of the car, the darkness outside swallowing me whole. A chilling wind whispered through the branches, carrying with it an otherworldly moan. Fear wrapped its icy fingers around my throat as I stood alone on that forsaken road. In the distance, a dim light flickered like a distant star. My heart pounded in my ears as I stumbled toward it, the oppressive shadows threatening to consume me. The light belonged to an old gas station, a relic from a forgotten era. Its flickering neon sign cast eerie shadows on the cracked pavement. I hesitated at the entrance, a sense of foreboding settling over me. The door creaked open, and the bell above jingled, announcing my arrival to an empty room. The air inside was stale, and a thick layer of dust covered the counters. "Hello," I called out, my voice echoing through the empty space. Silence greeted me, broken only by the distant howl of the wind. I approached the counter, my footsteps creating a hollow echo. Behind it, an ancient cash register sat like a silent sentinel. A whisper of movement caught my attention. I turned to see a figure standing at the far end of the gas station. The dim light obscured their features, and a cold dread settled in my stomach. The figure beckoned, a slow, deliberate motion. Against my better judgment, I followed. The gas station seemed to expand, its corridors winding into a labyrinth of shadows. The air grew colder, and the dim light danced eerily on the walls. The figure led me deeper, its movements deliberate, almost spectral. As we reached the heart of the gas station, the figure turned to face me. My breath caught in my throat as the dim light revealed a face, pale and twisted with a malevolent grin. Panic surged through me as I tried to retreat, but the walls seemed to close in, trapping me in a nightmarish embrace. The figure spoke in a voice that seemed to reverberate from the depths of the abyss. You shouldn't have come here. I stumbled backward, desperate to escape the claustrophobic nightmare. The walls pulsated, alive with unseen malevolence. The figure advanced, its twisted smile widening. Panic clawed at my chest as I ran through the suffocating corridors. The exit seemed to mock me, forever out of reach. The air thickened and the walls closed in, pressing against me from all sides. I gasped for breath, the world spinning into a dizzying whirlpool of shadows and despair. Just as I felt the abyss swallow me whole, I jolted awake. My heart raced, and I found myself back in the driver's seat, the car's engine purring like a loyal beast. The headlights illuminated the desolate road, the night as black as obsidian. The gas station, the figure, and the suffocating corridors were nothing more than a twisted dream. I took a deep breath, glancing around as if expecting the night to reveal its secrets. The road stretched endlessly before me, featureless and unending. But a lingering unease clung to me as I drove on, the darkness outside hiding secrets that whispered in the wind. The night was a vast canvas, and I was a mere brushstroke in its haunting masterpiece.